All right, for my tutorial this week, I'm going to be showing the basics of how to render using Revit and then also rendering on the cloud. So as you can see here, this is a project I did a while ago, just a basic little home and some fun stuff set up here in the yard. And so to be able to start getting ready to render something, you first need to have decided what you want to be doing a rendering of. And in Revit, one of the simple ways to do that is to come up here to 3D view and set up a camera. Oh, I gotta save my project. I'll give it a second. Okay. And then once we have the little camera shows up, you can see here by my mouse, you can click wherever you want to show and create your camera. Then it'll pop up a little spot where you can be able to see it. And then there's lots of ways that we can go into another time for how to adjust this and make it look more realistic and change all the textures of things. But once you've set up a camera and organized everything the way you want, you can begin to get ready to render. And so I'm going to pick one up here that I've already done before. And this view is set up at the right size I want it to be. For the most part, all of the textures are how I had them planned. Some of the pictures are no longer connected, but I could still be able to show you how to render using this. And so first, before you get ready to do your final rendering, you'll want to try out a couple of simpler renderings. You can go up here to the little teapot picture here. And if you click, for now we'll just do draft and not change any of these things. If you click render, it's going to go through and take a couple of minutes and show you what this picture will look like when it's the materials are a little bit more what you picked, a little bit more realistic than what we can see right here. And normally this takes a few minutes. If you change the setting over here where it says draft to something higher, it'll take a little bit longer time. If you're doing it on your home computer, that might take even longer. It's kind of a demanding task for the computer to go do. So as you can see, this is what it looks like now that I've finished drafting a draft rendering. And if everything looks kind of the way you want it to, maybe you can try out doing a higher resolution, higher quality rendering just here in Revit. And if everything is the way you want it to be, then you can come up here, I'll exit that out, click render in cloud, and then you can change some of the settings here for how you want it to do for your higher quality rendering. I recommend if it's just you're trying things out, make sure that all the colors are right, the lighting is right. I would probably just use the rendering quality as standard and exposure as medium or small. If it's your final one, you might want to go more medium or large, and rendering quality, go ahead and do final. But for those first couple of times, making sure everything is the places you want it to be, go ahead and just click render for that. And I like to have it email me when it's complete. It just makes things really convenient. So you can go ahead and click render, and it's going to do that all in the cloud. And here it's telling me that all these textures that I've put in before aren't accessible anymore, and that's okay for our purposes. If that happens when you're trying to do a project of your own, you probably want to make sure all of the different textures you put in are correct. And so that's going to continue to work in the background. And when it's finished, it'll send you an email. But I want to show you here some of what that'll look like in the end. So the one that we just did looks kind of boring here. Like I said, some of the textures weren't the way they were when I first created this. But as you can see, it's a lot more realistic. It's a lot more what you actually want it to look like for your final product. I'm going to go ahead and show you over here what it looked like before I was ready to turn in this project. And as you can see, it looks really crisp. Obviously, there's some things I can fix, but the rendering really pulls together all your work and gets it ready to be able to be presented. And so I hope you find that this short tutorial on how to do some basic rendering helpful. And actually, before I finish, there's a couple other things you can do up here to change this photo once it's been rendered. You can come in here and change some exposures, change some of these presets, saturation, color, and stuff like that. And you can go ahead and just do those by sliding over. And if you don't like where it is, you just exit out. It'll take it back to where it was normally. Or if you want to keep that, you just click apply after making those changes. And there's lots of other ways up here that you can be able to change your photo and change the way it turns out. And when you're ready to do something more with this, you can also, of course, download it. Maybe take it into Photoshop, put something in your backyard that's realistic to what the project you're actually doing is. Anyhow, I hope you found this tutorial helpful, and I'll see you next time.